You watch a sad movie, and without your permission, water starts pouring out of your eyes. And here's the genuinely strange part. As far as scientists can tell, humans are the only species on Earth that cries emotional tears. Not chimpanzees, not elephants, despite what you might have heard about their grief. Not a single other animal has ever been documented producing tears specifically in response to emotion, just us. So why would evolution build something this specific, this visible, this seemingly useless into exactly one species? Part 1. Not all tears are the same. Here's something most people don't realize. Your eyes produce 3 completely different types of tears, and they're chemically nothing alike. Basal tears are the constant low-level moisture your eyes produce every second of every day, keeping your cornea lubricated and protected. You don't even notice them. Reflex tears show up when something physically irritates your eye, cutting an onion, getting dust blown into your face, smoke stinging your eyes. These tears exist purely to flush out an irritant, mostly water, with a job that's entirely mechanical. Then there's the third kind, emotional tears, and this is where things get genuinely fascinating because chemically, they're a completely different substance. Part 2, the chemistry of sadness. In the 1980s, biochemist William Frey ran a series of studies analyzing the chemical composition of emotional tears compared to reflex tears produced by chopping onions. What he found was remarkable. Emotional tears contained significantly higher concentrations of stress-related hormones, including ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, a chemical your body releases during periods of significant stress, and leucine-enkephalin, a natural pain-relieving compound related to the body's endorphin system. Think about what that actually means. When you cry from sadness, you're not simply leaking water. You're potentially excreting stress hormones directly out of your body, through your eyes, in measurable, chemically distinct concentrations that simply don't appear in tears triggered by a sliced onion. Part 3, where it all starts. So, where does this process actually begin? It starts deep in your brain, in a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala, the same region responsible for processing fear, threat, and intense emotional response. When the amygdala registers overwhelming sadness, grief, or emotional pain, it sends a signal through a complex neural pathway to your lacrimal glands. Small almond-shaped structures positioned above each eye, specifically responsible for producing tears. Unlike basal tear production, which runs on autopilot constantly, emotional tear production is triggered by this direct neurological pathway connecting your deepest emotional processing center straight to the glands physically capable of producing visible, liquid evidence of what's happening inside your mind. Part 4, the evolutionary puzzle. Here's where the real mystery begins. From a pure survival standpoint, crying seems like a genuinely bad evolutionary strategy. It blurs your vision at exactly the moment you might need to see clearly. It's loud, or at least visibly obvious, advertising vulnerability to potential threats. In the animal kingdom, showing weakness is usually a good way to attract predators, not deter them. So why would natural selection preserve and even intensify a trait this seemingly counterproductive? Part 5, the silent distress signal theory. Researchers studying the evolutionary psychology of crying have proposed a compelling answer. Crying might not be a flaw at all. It might be a highly specific, honest social signal, one specifically evolved to communicate distress without words, and crucially, without triggering the same alarm as screaming or shouting might. Think about early human social groups, small, interdependent, surviving through cooperation. A visible tear streaming down someone's face communicates something extraordinarily precise. I am in genuine emotional pain. I am not currently a threat to you, and I need support. Unlike a verbal cry for help, which could alert predators or rival groups from a distance, tears are a remarkably quiet signal, visible only up close, to the people already near you, exactly the people capable of offering comfort. Part 6, the blurry vision clue. Here's a detail that supports this theory in an unexpected way. Some researchers point out that blurred vision caused by tears might itself serve a social function. Jeer, a signal that the crying individual is, at least momentarily, not a threat, essentially unable to clearly track movement or coordinate an attack, a visible, honest display of vulnerability that other group members could recognize as genuine, not performed. Part 7. Tears and Bonding. There's compelling evidence supporting the social bonding function too. Studies asking observers to rate photographs of the same person, some with visible tears digitally removed, others left intact, found that faces with visible tears were consistently rated as more sad, but also, crucially, as more in need of support, and more likely to elicit a helping response from observers. Researcher Ad Vingerhoets, who has spent much of his career studying the psychology of crying, argues that emotional tears likely evolved specifically as an attachment behavior, similar in function to an infant's cry, but refined over evolutionary time into something quieter, more socially nuanced, uniquely suited for adult human relationships and complex social bonding. Part 8. Why it might actually feel good. And here's where the hormone research connects back beautifully. If emotional tears really do carry elevated levels of stress hormones and natural pain-relieving compounds out of your body, then crying might genuinely function as a release valve, both chemically and socially. You feel relief after a good cry, not just because you expressed an emotion, but potentially because your body just physically discharged some of the biochemical stress load it was carrying, while simultaneously signaling to the people around you that you needed exactly that kind of support. Part 9. The honest conclusion. So, is crying a design flaw, or is it one of the most sophisticated pieces of social technology evolution ever built into a single species? Honestly, the research increasingly points toward the second explanation. A behavior that blurs vision and reveals vulnerability, on paper, sounds like exactly the kind of trait natural selection should have eliminated. Instead, it survived, intensified, and became something uniquely, specifically human. Maybe that's the real answer. Maybe crying isn't weakness leaking out. Maybe it's your nervous system's most honest, most unfakeable proof that you needed someone, sent directly to the people standing close enough to help. So the next time tears show up uninvited, remember what's actually happening beneath the surface. And here's a question worth sitting with. If crying evolved specifically to bring people closer together, what does it say about us that so many people still work so hard to hide it? If this changed how you think about your last good cry, subscribe. Because next time, we're diving into the true origin of humanity's first war. Let me know below, when was the last time crying actually helped you? See you then.